Hey, what's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about Hotboii. Now, Hotboii seems to be in some hot water, man. It looks like Hotboii is going to be going to jail. There has been a warrant issued for his arrest, and this has been a build-up all week because Hotboii, the prosecutors in his RICO case. Now, let me backtrack, y'all, man. Hotboii was caught up in this whole RICO case that was brought down by this operation called Operation X-Force, where him and another rapper by the name of Glokknine were both arrested, man. Now, it took a little while before Hotboii got arrested, but by the time he got arrested, he was ready to post that bond. And I believe his bond at the time was something like $750,000. Now, since being out on bond, the state's prosecutors, they filed a motion saying that he hasn't been sticking to the rules of his bond agreement. And it's looking like a judge agrees with him, man. Now, before we get to the specifics and talk about all the details in this situation, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And, man, let's get it. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, man, let's rewind back, man. Now, last year, there was a big operation that took place in Orlando, Florida. There's been many videos about it talking about Operation X-Force, right? Now, in Operation X-Force, you had police officers apprehend two sides of these alleged gangs in Orlando that have been, tearing up the city pretty much. They account for a lot of the crime in the city and a lot of the shootings. Now, one gang is allegedly associated with Hotboii, and that's called 438. Then there's another gang that's allegedly associated with Glokknine. They're called the Army or the Family and a whole bunch of different names, you know what I mean? Now, Glokknine has been locked up. He caught his charges. He actually pleaded out, man. I think he's looking like 5 years or something like that. But there's still this RICO indictment that came down with Operation X-Force. Now, that's the big point of Operation X-Force. It was a RICO indictment when they grabbed all these cats, right? Now, Hotboii, he seemed like he was on the run for a while, man. He didn't turn himself in for a long time, and people were wondering his whereabouts or was he ever going to turn himself in? Until eventually he went to social media and let people know, yeah, I'm going to turn myself in. This is the time, this is the day, or whatever. And he stuck to that. And when he turned himself in, he also had to post this huge bond. I was surprised he got bond, but he got bond, but it was like $750,000. Most states, it's like 10%. Now, Hotboii is a hot rapper in the game. Pause on that. And, $75K is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. That is a ton of money. More than I got. But, man, it's probably, it was probably nothing for him to post that. You know what I mean? Now, since then, all he had to do was keep his nose clean and stay out of trouble. Well, the state's prosecutors filed a motion this week alleging that Hotboii had not been sticking to the bond agreement and has actually gotten in trouble or arrested since being out on bond, man, and it just slipped past everybody. So they filed this motion, and it seemed like, and actually, let's look at what they filed. Now, as you see here is the motion to revoke bond, and it was filed by on behalf of the state of Florida as the plaintiff because it's a state RICO case, and you have Javari Walker, which is, Hotboii's name, right? His real name. Now, it goes on to say throughout the document some different things, so I'm going to skip through it. Now, the first part, it says the defendant was arrested in Orange County Court case number, and that details the court for the RICO indictment, right? And it says that he was arrested for RICO and conspiracy to commit RICO, eventually consolidated into the above caption case. Regardless, right? Now, in line item number 2, it says, at initial appearance, Judge Bain ordered that the defendant comply with special conditions of release to include to not possess any type of substances or weapons or anything of that nature is basically what this comes to, right? Or any illegal or controlled substances or anything without a valid prescription. That's what it says here in the document, right? Now, in the next line, it says on May 22nd, 2022, this year, the defendant was an occupant of a vehicle which contained several of those items that he wasn't supposed to be around and that were admittedly purchased on the street. And they had an exhibit, A and B to go with this, right? Then also in the last item, it said, following receipt of the Florida Highway Patrol report, the undersigned learned that the defendant had been arrested on January 27th, 2022 for carrying a concealed firearm, use or display of firearm while committing a felony and possessing with intent to sell, deliver. So there was an arrest back in January of 2022 where he had got arrested and it just fell under the radar. They didn't file the motion then, but they did once they found out that, he had also been pulled over in a vehicle that had some substances he wasn't supposed to be around that were already admitted to be bought on the street. Now, that doesn't mean that Hotboii had those substances. It just says that he was in the car when it was pulled over not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, or not even a week ago, right? Now, what's crazy is everybody was waiting to see what would happen after this motion was filed. I mean, it basically has two situations where they can prove to the judge that they believe that Hotboii was in the wrong and not sticking to his bond agreement. And as predicted, man, the judge took one look at that and said, oh, no, man, nah, no way. Straight to jail, man. I had predicted that as well. I was like, man, if any of this pans out, what they had filed in the motion, man, Hotboii looks like he's going to be going back to jail and have to wait until he sees this RICO trial. Now, what's crazy is, and hopefully you guys are picking this up with these RICO indictments, getting bond is almost impossible, right? It seems like it's part of the strategy for the person not to get bond. So that way, they can keep them, from getting money and stuff like that. They can't fight the case. It just seems like, and then they use a lot of excuses like in the Young Thug situation and the Gunner situation and say that, they're a harm to the community or whatnot. And that's not to say that that's the right decision or a wrong decision. It just seems like for a rapper or any type of entertainer or anybody, if you're not out there making money and you're sitting in jail, it's going to be a lot harder to fight your case. So Hotboii getting bond, man, was a blessing, you know what I mean? And it looks like, man, according to the judge, actually, let's look at the statement that the judge, or what the judge signed in court, man, this week in order to revoke Hotboii's bond. Now, if you look at this document, you can see that it was signed by this, in the same circuit court that the motion was filed in, of course, and the Honorable Tanya Davis Wilson was the circuit court judge that reviewed this, and she granted the order to revoke bond. You can see it checked off right there, and it has some handwriting or whatever you can barely make out. But it looks like, man, that they just said, forget it, man. We're going to roll with that because they had enough evidence to support that. And the judge was like, well, it looks like he has been arrested 2 times since he's been out on bond, or at least 1 time since he's been out on bond. And the other time he was in a car that was pulled over and there was some alleged illegal substances in the car that were bought on the street. Bond revoked, man. So Hotboii, man, he's going to be sitting in jail just like Glokknine, waiting until this RICO case comes around. And usually it takes forever for him to come around. And, man, that's going to hurt his pockets for real, man. But this is crazy, man. What do you guys think about this, man? You think that Hotboii fumbled the bag here? He got a blessing by being out on bond and then all he had to do was stick to the bond conditions? Or let's play devil's advocate. Let's say it's hard to live your life under a microscope. And, each and every step or thing that you do, especially if you're a rapper traveling around, can get you hemmed up. Now, with that, this has been your boy Big Man. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace.